What up, Dragon Ballers? Today we're going over my updated Son Gohan Former Glory Regained list. This is commonly referred to as 3Han or uh, I don't know. People got nicknames for it. I just call it Blue Gohan SH. Uh, I'm not gonna go over everything in the deck because it's been out for quite a while. I just wanted to give you guys like an updated look at what I'm running. But what I will go over is the leader because I feel like a lot of people are misunderstanding the value of this leader. So permanent, you can only place up to 3 energy. That is not that big of a deal the way the deck's constructed. When this card attacks, draw a card. Awaken when your life's at 5 or less, or you have a blue Z battle card with an energy cost of 2 or more and SH in its character name in play. You can switch up to 2 of your energy to active mode and go down to 5 life. Um, Same permanent on the back, 3 energy. Auto, once per turn. If all your energy is mono blue, when one of your blue battle cards is added to your Z energy, switch up to 1 of your energy to active mode. This will trigger the first time you Z charge a blue battle card, so make sure you have tapped energy before doing so. Activate main / battle once per turn, so this is on either player's turn. Draw cards until you have 3 cards in your hand. So, what I was saying about people misunderstanding the value of this leader is that it is the best blue leader at filtering through your deck. I don't necessarily come close to decking out, but I do see quite a bit of my deck when I play this leader. And it's because on both players' turns, I'm dumping my 3 card hand to see a new 3 cards. Uh, Basically, what I'm saying is big hand size is overrated. And yeah, let's just get into the deck. I'm gonna go over it in terms of like how the deck is played. So here's your turn 1. You play a pan, draw a card. It has barriers, so it's just gonna sit there. Um, and then your alternate option on turn 1 is to pay 1, discard a Piccolo to play a pan. It's very important we get that pan in play turn 1 so we can enable our explosive turn 2. On turn 2, we're going to be playing our Z battle card. So let's go over the Z deck real quick. We play 3 Son Goku Stronger together. Now, 3 may seem like a lot. I usually only play 1 per game, but if the deck I'm playing against has barrier removal, I need all 3 of these copies. Once they understand my win condition is this card, they will do what they can to get rid of it. So being able to just play it and use it in the same turn is very valuable. We play 1 Surmounting the Impossible Vegeta. Surmounting is just there for its existence as a cheap Z card. I don't really use it to take life or filter through my deck that much because the leader already does that in terms of filtering, and one of our cards does say you need 2 Z battle cards in play for its effect. So that's why we're running the 1 Surmounting. We have 2 Area Annihilator. Now, this is a great low cost removal card for the deck. It can get through barrier, but you're spending all your energy that turn to do so. So I wouldn't recommend using the tap 2 effect in this deck. It's really just there to be a 2 cost, 1 cost technically because we're untapping 1 removal. And then finally we have 1 Cell Awakening of the Created. Cell's great because he's pure pressure. Dual attack, 25k critical is fantastic. The board wipe is just a plus. We actually do pretty well at managing our opponent's board size with this deck, so I don't often use him for removal. But yeah, the main thing I wanted to show you the Z deck for is so we talk about Son Goku Stronger together. Because on turn 2, this is the first thing we want to do. So ideally, turn 1, we're going to or turn 1.5 on their turn, we're going to Z charge 1 card at least. On our turn, we're going to swing with leader, combo, Z charge a 2nd card. Now we can play our Stronger together. Now we can awaken. So, really important to get that turn 2 awaken in order to generate the pressure that's going to keep your opponent on the back foot for the entire game. Uh, so the way we generate that pressure, especially on turn 2, is with Piccolo the Infiltrator and Wrathful Awakening Son Gohan. Um, when I mulligan, I'm mulliganing for these 3 cards. If I see my secret rare, that's great, but these 3 cards are almost more important than seeing the secret rare early, at least. So what you want to do is turn 2, you start by playing Stronger Together. You awaken. You play Piccolo the Infiltrator or Wrathful Awakening and swing twice. And on one of those attacks, you'll combo 1 blue battle card in order to get your untap off leader. And that'll free up the energy you need to either play the Infiltrator or the Gohan. That gives you 5 effective energy on turn 2. And we're using only 2 of that for our Z card. So it's a really strong play. It gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you could swing with Pan, so 6 attacks on turn 2. Really powerful. And there is some merit to swinging with Pan. I do it sometimes even if I'm not comboing onto her, just because we don't want her in active mode for our opponent to be able to combo off on one of our swings. Really important. I see a lot of people just like giving them the pan and it's like, oh, free combo. Nah, you can swing with the pan first and then give it to them. So yeah, these 3 cards are the start of the deck. Let's move on to the rest of it. Our floodgate of choice, and this should actually be with our defensive cards, which we'll get into next, is Power Unshackled. Power Unshackled costs 2 total. After you combo with it, you can pay 1 to play it from your drop area. And then activate main, limit 1. You can pay a blue to place it in its owner's drop, from the field, of course. Until the end of your opponent's next turn, they can't attack with battle cards unless they bottom deck one of their battle cards with energy cost of 2 or less. So some decks just aren't playing battle cards 2 or less, so this can effectively buy you an entire turn. Better than Baby Hatch in some scenarios. But yeah, I really like this card. This is an auto 4 of in this deck for sure. Another card that people are sleeping on, I feel like, is the SGR. This deck enables the SGR really well. You can untap energy to get up to 3. You can use it as a kill condition, or you're just using it for free effectively to remove something on their turn. Great at dealing with dual attackers. I feel like the power level of this card is very much determined by your skill as a player. So it's not very cut and clear how you're going to use it, but as you're playing the matchup, you will figure out its best utility. I would maybe go to 3, but never less than 3 of this card. It's really, really good. So that I think is it for. Oh, we play one more card that's part of like the engine of this deck, but the rest is just gonna be generic good aggro and defense. So real quick, these are the only cards besides our secret rare that came out with this deck that we're actually playing. We're not playing the Vegeta, we're not playing the Goku, we're not playing what else do people play? I don't know. There were other cards that came out with this deck. I don't recommend playing any of those. This is all you need as far as the engine goes. Moving on, let's get into more of our defensive options. We have our super combo is Zamasu Sacred Disbelief. Sacred Disbelief does not draw you a card, which a lot of people are like, oh, you're only playing with 3 cards in hand and you're not playing a draw super combo? That seems pretty bad. You don't need to play a draw super combo when your leader is constantly filtering. Zamasu is another card like Power Reclaim Son Gohan that the better you are as a player, the more value you're going to get out of this card. I've used this thing in countless ways to interrupt a lot of game plans. It's a really, really strong super combo. I wouldn't play any other super combo, even if I wasn't playing any arrival targets, which we do play one. Another card that kinda could be an aggressive option, but I mostly use it for defense. Is Rose Goku Black Mortals Begone. This is a double strike 20k that draws a card and bottom decks of 4 or less at activate battle timing. So the Masu can rest something on our combo step, and Goku Black can remove something on our combo step, and then the SGR can remove something after battle. So we have a lot of disruption and removal on our opponent's turn, which is great. We do play 4 defending friends. It's the best blue floodgate right now. Very easy to set up in this deck. We have a blue battle card in play. Blue Z battle card in play for Oh, it only needs any Z battle card. But yeah, we play a Z battle card on turn 2 that has deflect barrier. So this is live pretty much the whole game. Yeah, not much more to say about that. This is our secret rare. So that was it for the defensive cards. This is our secret rare, obviously. Son Gohan Beyond the Ultimate. You have to wait till you have 3 energy to play it. So this is our turn 3 play. That's why our turn 2, all that aggression on turn 2 between the Piccolo, the Gohan, and the Pan potentially swinging. That is the goal of that is to set up our Beyond the Ultimate. We want this card not to go for game. We want this card to put them at 3 life. So usually I try to get my opponent to 5 life on turn 2. If you can get them to 5 life on turn 2, you can play this on turn 3. Make them bottom deck a life. There are 4. And now you have 2 crit swings. And even if they defend the crit swings, it's still a bunch of cards out of their hand. More often than not, I've noticed my opponents will just use a token negate to deal with both swings, which is perfect because all we wanted was to put them at 3. And the reason for that is our win condition, Stronger Together, gives a card with 2 character names triple strike. So it seems kind of linear, I guess, but we have a few targets, so it's really easy to set up and really easy to pull off. And yeah, it's just a really strong way to go for game. All right, so let's talk about our targets. We have, I'll leave this guy here so we know what we're talking about. We have Heroic Team, Gohan Piccolo. This is a dual attack limit 1, draws a card on swing. If your opponent has a battle card in play, it goes up to 24k, and then Goku's going to give it another 10k, so it's a 34k base, which is hard to neg through. And it's an 8 drop, so this is our best option against blue. Blue plays the Goku Black that I showed you, so we don't want to swing with our other 2 attackers. Against blue, I will side in a 3rd copy of this because it is that important to be able to go for game when you need to. But yeah, it's just a dual attack that can be given triple strike. We can play it for 1 when we combo 3 cards, I think. Yeah, 3 or more cards. Very easy to set up in this deck. And just a really powerful option. I mentioned we were playing an arrival target for our super combo. This is that. I was playing 4 of these. If I had room to keep it at a hard 50, I might still play a 4th, but I think 3 is fine. There were games where I wouldn't see it all game, and then in the late game, I'd have like 2 or 3 copies in hand and no energy to combo them off. So 3 seems like it could be all right. And the card that we replaced it with is more or less a better version of this card. The only reason Vegeta and Kaba is great, in my opinion, over our next card, which is Goku Oob, is that Vegeta Kaba can be played on our opponent's turn and remove a card energy cost of 4 or less during the combo step. So if your opponent's not aware of the super combo you're playing yet, they won't even see this coming. You're going to combo Zamasu, tap 1, play this, and remove their attacking card. And if that was like a Sin Shenron that they put a Deluge on top of the 4 drop, you can just get rid of it. It's really nice. So let's talk about Goku Oob, because this is the only new card in this list compared to my Nationals build that I played. The rest is just cuts and ratios. For example, we cut Immortal Rivalry, which was our other dual character name target, because that was a 3-drop 15k that honestly wasn't all that great. I cut it to 2 at first, and then I cut it completely, and I just don't miss it. So let's talk about this guy. 4-drop Deflect Dual Attack. When this card's played, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 5 or less, return it to its owner's hand, and then search your top 5 for an Earthling or World Tournament card with 4 or less. So it can search itself. It can also search our Floodgate. It can also search this guy. And it can also search our Pan. So we have quite a few targets in the deck. So it's more often than not, it replaces itself in your hand, removes a card, and is a dual attacker. And he plays for 1 if you have 3 or more energy. Just tap 1, limit 1, activate main, play this guy from your hand. So this card, I think, definitely gave this leader the tools to compete. Having a little extra removal, having a cheap dual attacker with 2 names that doesn't require setup, which is the biggest thing, because both of these guys require setup, and so did Immortal Rivalry. This card pushed the deck to another level, in my opinion. Unfortunately, as much as I love this deck, as long as yellow is prominent in the meta, this is going to struggle to compete. It's just the fact of the matter. I lost 3 games at Nats. 2 of those games were to yellow. The other was to Gamma, which is basically a yellow deck that's blue. It's nearly impossible to play this deck into yellow effectively, and you gotta side deck really well, basically, to beat a yellow deck. But yeah, giving this guy triple strike is great. Let's go into our last 8 cards of the deck. We are playing a hard 50, like I mentioned. We play 4 Shu Delusion Power and 4 Supreme Kaya Time, Guardian of Space Time. I was playing Fasha Delusion Power. I did cut that because it only works on Vegeta Kaba and Son Gohan Piccolo, and I was running 4 Vegeta Kaba and 3 Son Gohan Piccolo in my last list. So cutting those ratios, it didn't feel right, including the Fasha. One thing I do miss about Fasha is it allowed me to organically enable Arrival. So if I just comboed Fasha plus a blue card, I could play Vegeta Kaba. And like I said, we're dumping hand consistently. With this deck, we are constantly filtering. So dumping 2 cards and then playing the third in Vegeta Kaba wasn't completely unreasonable and was something I did really like about the deck. But losing that doesn't feel like a huge blow to the deck. So Shu makes our attackers really big. I usually use one of these on my Pan on turn 2. So I'm swinging for 14k at their leader. That 14 is probably not going to hit, to be fair, because they just need to combo 1 card. But it will make it so that they have less cards in hand once you're swinging with the 19k dual attack and the 20k dual attack in Piccolo and Gohan. And then Supreme Kaya Time, Guardian of Space Time, great at all points of the game because we constantly have less than 5 cards in our hand, which is the stipulation to gain the extra 5k. I use this card defensively more often than not. It is great when going for game, but most of the time this is just a solid defensive option, a good way to kind of deceive your opponent in terms of how much combo power you can potentially have in hand, because they see 3 cards, you're tapped out, they're like, okay, they have maybe a super combo, they have like 20k combo power in hand, but if I have a super combo plus this plus a 5k, I can combo that's already putting me at 40k, and then I draw 3 new cards and I can combo further. I don't recommend doing that because you would dump your whole hand on 1 swing, but sometimes, like, if they're going for game and they commit to a swing, that can really be great. And uh, people are a little more familiar with this deck, but you will still catch people off guard. I was constantly catching people off guard throughout Nats when I played this deck with the amount of combo power I could output despite my low hand size, which I think is one of the greatest things going for this deck. Real quick, I will go over my side deck. It's not complete right now. There are a couple cards that should probably be changed, and I'll tell you what those are. We do play the Fortune. Fortune is just a no-brainer in this deck. We're always at 3 or less energy, so we can shut down our opponent's boss monsters. Also, 2 striving to be the best. If you can play Striving and Shin against SS4 or Sin Shenron, you lock them into attacking with their with like 6 or less. But most of the time, people are playing 4 drops or less, like 4 or 3 drops, and we have Goku Black and Vegeta Kaba to deal with 4 or less. We do play 4 Borgos, Bardock's Crewmate. We are an aggro deck. We don't want to keep running into Dimension Magics, so Borgos is very important. Should be, I don't know where my second decisive strike went, but supposed to be 2 decisive strikes in here. This is our side against yellow. We need to use this very strategically to ensure that we're able to swing a bunch of times in one turn. Sometimes it may be appropriate using it on turn 2 to put them at 5 life. It depends when you see it, because like I said before, we are constantly filtering. The last cards, these 2 should be 2 more decisive strikes, I think. Like I said, I cut this from 4 to 2, and now from 2 to 0. I don't think this card is as good as I initially thought it was. Being a dual name was great, but now we have this guy for that, so definitely just run 3 decisive strikes. And then we have another Vegeta Kaba, the 4th copy, in case it's a matchup where we know they're going to be playing a lot of 4 or less, and we need that extra disruption. And another copy of Gohan Piccolo if we're playing against blue. And we know they have the potential to remove our 4 drops mid-combat with Goku Black. We will side in the extra copy of this to be able to play around that. That's pretty much it for me. Thank you for tuning in and listening. I will try to be a little more consistent with Dragon Ball content over the coming weeks. I did just get back from Japan. Feeling super inspired to build Gunpla and stuff right now, so I'll try to balance things out and bring more cool stuff your way. Thanks once again. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. Peace out.